Welcome to Seed 360, a Pioneer Seeds Australia podcast for everything in, on and around the seed. My name's Erinn McCartney, Western Regional Manager. Today with me is Cam Sell, Henk Vrolix and our special guest Clint Rogers, our Australian Canola Portfolio Manager.
Welcome, Clint.
Thanks, Hank. It's great to be here.
No worries, mate. It's good to have you. So maybe give us a bit of a rundown on what you do for Pioneer and your journey, I guess.
Yeah, thanks, Hank. So been with the company for about 12 years. Current role is the Australian Portfolio Manager for canola. Based myself out of sunny Ballarat. I think we've had about 3 or 4 sunny days in the last week, so we'll claim those. So I had multiple roles, I guess, across the business in that 12-year period, ranging from regional management, deregulation of optimum gly, and more recently managing the portfolio. So that's kind of where I fit into the business, I guess.
Yeah, no, you've had a fairly broad journey in 12 years, haven't you, Clint?
I guess you call that pretty whirlwind tour. A lot of achievements, and I think if you reflect back on what we've been able to achieve and where the business has come from, even the last sort of 5 or 6 years has been pretty exciting.
That's right.
Mates, given that you're our canola portfolio manager, we know that you keep a pretty keen eye on industry swings and market changes and advancements in the space. So we just thought today we'd pick your brain a little bit on your knowledge and what you're seeing in the market. Can you tell us, mate, how has canola changed in the modern farming system in the last few years? In terms of the areas that it's grown, the areas of adaptation, and what have been our staple segments traditionally, mate?
Yeah, that's a big question, Ez, and I think if I even think back to 2016 when I took over as canola portfolio manager, the canola market was 2.5 to 2.8 million hectares. We think back 2 years ago, which was the biggest canola plant in Australia, we're up as high as nearly 3.8, 3.9 million hectares. So quite a significant change in area planted. I think a lot of that is being driven by the conversion of open pollinated triazine products to hybrids. And I think the resilience of those early maturity products has what's driven the adoption of canola into some of these more marginal and lower rainfall zones.
You've definitely raised some valid points there, and being from Western Australia, where we have a lot of low to medium rainfall growing environments and challenges with other environmental factors, the resilience and strength of hybrid canola has definitely shone, and I've personally witnessed the swing from open pollinated varieties into hybrid products, and I don't think that's going to change going forward. I think we'll only see further adoption. For Pioneer, what have been our staple segments, mate, in the last little bit of time, and where are they starting to go?
I think historically canola's typically been grown in those high medium rainfall environments, and I'd say that it has been because they've been solid performers there. Return on investment, gross margins have always been solid, and you've been able to get a reliable result more often. I think if you think back 15, 20 years ago, canola was actually perceived as more of a high-risk crop. I think what we're finding now with hybrid adoption and managing our hybrids with greater levels of input, planting earlier, like the work we've done in phenology over the last sort of 8 to 9 years, has really allowed us to drive canola planting back nearly a full month earlier than where we were 10 years ago. And I think that early planting, improved early growth, allows for greater root growth, and we're actually probably accessing more moisture and harvesting more moisture than we were. And that's why we're starting to see the trend for canola to move into these more medium and low rainfall zones. And when you couple that with, improvements in herbicide tolerance, with optimum gly and combination products like our triazine Clearfield, we're able to provide effective weed control in these low rainfall zones, which is really, I suppose, changing the game in those low rainfall zones around weed management and improved profitability, especially in subsequent crops.
Great answer, Clint, and found myself nodding along to those answers because I fully agree with that. So
that's the first you're agreeing with someone.
That's right. So all things being equal, Clint, with hybrid advancement and those sort of things, what sort of macros and what sort of global trends have helped drive canola area and where do you see that going? What new markets are potentially going to help canola maintain that sort of level of planting in the Australian rotation?
Yeah, thanks, Hank. So again, that's a It's a really topical question. I suppose first things first, the driver of the more recent growth in canola hectares has been really driven by some mandates around biodiesel in Europe and North America. That sort of set a pretty solid floor in the global oilseed market. We've also seen a little bit of turmoil, I suppose you can call it, in the Middle East. Wars in Ukraine, which obviously create instability, and those things generally will push up oil prices, and there's obviously some unsurety around oil supply, and that again has put more pressure on biodiesel, and I think that's what's driven the more recent increase in canola hectares.
What about also, Clint, what we're seeing with the regulation around palm oil and how the impacts that has there?
Yeah, that's a real good one, Cam. So obviously the sustainability of palm oil is under question by a lot of countries, in particular in Europe, and they're looking at putting restrictions on the amount of palm oil that can be used in biodiesel and other industries. I guess it's a real opportunity for Australian canola and canola oil to fulfil some of that gap.
So the future, in general terms, looks fairly bright for the product, hopefully.
Yeah, I think canola oil or veg oil in total, and that includes soybeans and sunflowers and other crops, but that veg oil market looks really positive for the medium and long term. And it's not just to fulfill the biodiesel requirements around the world, but there's also development from canola in relation to whether or not it fills a place in the food protein market. There's also questions around non-petroleum based plastics. Does bioplastic play a part in the future, whether that's 5, 10, 20 years down the track?
A lot of excitement, and I guess to be part of that as a business and help drive change like sustainability and real change. It's quite exciting times, isn't it, Clint?
Well, I think sustainability is a real buzzword at the minute, but I think it's real. When I talk to farmers around the world and even here in Australia, they all mention sustainability, and the first thing they want to do is they want to be profitable, but they want to do it sustainably. And I think that Pioneer play a big part in that, making sure that the hybrids we bring to market are nutrient use efficient. They're the highest yielding. We're trying to drive cost of production down, so the more we can do sustainably to help our farmers, then hopefully we're reducing their carbon footprints and making it easier for them to hit their reportable targets as well. So
I think we've got a fair bit happening in the canola portfolio in the next few months with a whole heap of new hybrids coming onto the market. So do you want to roll us through those and maybe point out a couple of points around each new hybrid coming in?
Yeah, absolutely, Hank. So I think there's sort of 6 new hybrids that we're launching for the 2025 planting season. Probably easy to start from the top and look at some of our Clearfield pipeline. We've got a new hybrid PY327C, new early maturity product that'll come to the market in limited volume for the current season. Pretty exciting that we can offer some earlier maturity products into that Clearfield segment. The next one is probably a new Roundup Ready hybrid, so PY428R. Really, really excited about the yield performance on this hybrid. Took a little bit of a decision, I suppose, brainstorming on whether we were to release this, given we released Optimum Glide for the first time last year, but we really couldn't walk past the performance on that hybrid.
Oh, great. I guess also there's a new Optimum Glide hybrid coming through. Tell us a bit about that one.
Yeah, so this will be PY323G. It will be our first early season Optimum Glide hybrid. This hybrid's been in the pipeline for quite some time. We've had a really close eye on it. Its resilience in those tough conditions is a real standout, and it probably fits into areas where the old 43Y23 RR used to fit. So we're really excited about this hybrid, in particular into Western Australia, the eastern wheat belts and northern parts of WA. It's probably got a pretty handy fit.
And Clint, we've got a straight TT coming down the line, mate. Do you want to just have a bit of a yarn about the importance of that in our business and how we've got to this point? It's been a little while coming, and globally it's not a huge marketplace, but let us in on what's going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. So back in about 2016, we decided to come up with our own route to market in the Trizene hybrid market. We licensed a few products prior to that as a bit of a toe in the water. But I think the really exciting part that you're seeing with the addition of the likes of PY429T to the market is it's based on our Y series or Pioneer genetic pool. So we've been able to really accelerate our genetic gain in this trizone space, and I think you're seeing that with the addition of our new TT to the market for 2025. We've been able to jump to the top of the tree in relation to yield performance. The other exciting part there is that with our new strategy on blackleg integration, we have a new group there of Group H, which is an effective major gene, coupled with our polygenic resistance that we've really been focused on for the last 20 years.
Yeah, so that's PY429T. If I didn't mention that before, I can't remember if I did or didn't. But, yeah, very exciting. Very exciting one to have coming into the marketplace, and it's attracting a lot of attention so far. Just its general showiness so far in trialling and strike has been noted by not only people in our business but a lot of people in the marketplace. When they see it in NVT and strike, it's been highly notable so far, so we're really looking forward to seeing the results there.
So another hybrid, I guess, Clint, that's created a lot of excitement this spring in our field days is PY424GC. Tell us a bit about that hybrid and why it's creating so much interest.
Really good lead in on that hybrid. So, yeah, the PY424GC is our first optimum gly clearfield combination hybrid to the market. We set out many, many years ago when we started to deregulate optimum gly with a focus that we'd always bring optimum gly clearfield hybrids to the market. This is the first hybrid in that space, and we have a big pipeline of material behind that. Last year, in those really tough conditions in Western Australia, it was a real standout. If you look at the early season NVT performance from last year, it was top of the tree in a lot of those, medium to low rainfall environments. It's a really resilient hybrid. It's tough under those tough conditions, and I think that's where, there is so much interest. Unfortunately, 2024 season has probably thrown a few challenges at us in relation to lack of rainfall, dry starts, and I think, these type of hybrids have got a real fit, especially around that resilience. But their combination tolerance to herbicides opens up a really big window. It allows us, to manage some clearfield residues. A lot of guys are using clearfield systems in other crops. And then obviously with the optimum gly, we can break that Group B cycle or Group 2 cycle with a really competitively performing product.
Yeah, I guess feedback from the marketplace has been really pleasing, and you're right, it's looked good this year too. Because I would probably argue this year's been tougher than last year for a lot of areas. So for it to back up 2 years in a row, we're onto a winner there, aren't we?
I think absolutely we're onto a winner, and it's backed up, in the 2 years we've just seen. But I think that hybrid's been in a pipeline for 5 or 6 years prior. So it's been tested in a lot of different environments, and again, the good ones always shine to the top.
So Clint, going back a couple of steps, and hypothetically speaking, put my grower hat on. I want to grow gly-tolerant canola. What does Optimum Gly bring me that some of the competitors probably can't? What's the point of difference, and where's the value going to be extracted for these growers who are looking at these hybrids?
Optimum Gly is really the third generation of gly-tolerant products in the market. We had Roundup Ready, had some limitations around the spray window up to 6 leaf. TrueFlex was an improvement on that, allowing the guys to go out to sort of first flower. Optimum Gly, we can go right out to 10% flower. I suppose the big differential between Optimum Gly and the other two technologies is that we have much higher rates. So we can go up to 1.8 litres of crucial 3 times within the crop. They're robust rates, and I think we're picking up an additional 27 odd weeds on label. Anecdotally talking to a few growers over the last 6 or 8 weeks, walking through some paddocks, they're getting some really clean results. A lot of guys using crucial in combination with clethodim, and that combination spray seems to be doing a really, really good job to clean up ryegrass.
Very good, Clint. So I guess Pioneer now, we've got a full gamut of herbicide technologies. We've got a couple of combination products, but another really exciting advancement, I guess, is in the Nexera line, which is of limited release. Tell us a little bit about that and why Cam's so excited about Nexera.
Nexera's been a long journey, I guess, for Pioneer. We typically haven't played in the specialty market in Australia. We've had access to specialties in other countries like Canada. But I think the real driver behind specialty oil in Australia is the healthier choice, I guess. It's been driven by consumers that we want to eat healthier. And so the omega-9 profile of the Nexera canola hybrids is a step in the right direction. Our strategy is a little different to those other specialty programs that have been in the market historically. So we're targeting our elite germplasm and using trait integration to stabilise the specialty profile within the hybrid, where in the past all of these hybrids have been forward bred. And I think that's what really differentiates our Next Era offering compared to other specialty pieces. The PN526C, so Clearfield tolerant specialty line, it's a long season, suited to those higher rainfall zones. So I guess that we have a closed loop agreement with MSN at Manildra in New South Wales. So it is quite a tight draw zone currently, but we'll look to expand those accumulation zones in time.
Well, thanks, Clint. Great chat, mate. I'm sure we'll have you back at some stage. So, you could probably do a whole episode on Next Era at some stage.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. We'll get the Colonel in.
I'll wear my white suit.
You know what? You're getting a white suit.
I know I am.
And a bucket of red and white chicken there. That'd be perfect for you.
The chicken's not red and white, Hank.
The bucket's red and white.
The bucket is.
We can't forget the big golden arches, guys. That Next Era goes through to those guys.
Are they going to be cooking my chippies in Next Era?
Chippies.
Oh, well, Clint, thank you. And so from the team at Seed 360, thanks for joining in, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks for joining us on Seed 360. Like and follow us for more episodes like this one.